Hey, Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. On August 3rd, 2016, it's reported that the father of the owner of the Minnesota Vikings passed away at age 91. Most people will read this headline and think nothing of it. Someone who lives to 91, that's a long life. That's a normal time to pass if you're that age. What I'm going to show in this video is why I think his death was not natural. Perhaps he was approaching death, but I am quite convinced this man was murdered as a ritual sacrifice for the upcoming Super Bowl that the Minnesota Vikings might very well be in. Before we get to why I think this, let me remind you what the purpose of this video channel is, what I am exposing, and what you might think I'm crazy for. In February of this year, Vanity died just before the Grammys. I did a video on what was suspicious about her death. I talked about why Prince better watch his ass. We might be reading about him dying next. And I said I won't be surprised if there's headlines in the near future about his death. In that video, I talk about a specific number. I talk about the number 67. Prince would end up dying in a span of 67 days from Vanity. And you can go back and watch my video on Vanity's death. You can hear these words then. The day Prince died, I talked about the significance of the date he died on. He died on April 21st, the 112th day of the year. He died at age 57, which is a number directly connected to Super Bowls and sports championships. This year, Houston is hosting the Super Bowl. Houston in gematria sums to 112. Prince died on the 112th day of the year. Peterson equals 112. So does Bridgewater, the star quarterback and running back of the Minnesota Vikings. Peterson has Houston roots. Vanity also died at age 57. When you write out 57, it has the same gematria as championship, Super Bowl, World Series. This is a number directly connected to sports championships. So to die at this age means you are likely a ritual sacrifice for an important sports championship that is connected. The day Prince died on is also typically the 111th day of the year, but because it was a leap year, it's the 112th. I talked about how his death was also a tribute for the upcoming NBA Finals. I showed why it was favorable for Cleveland. On the day of Game 1 of the NBA Finals is the day they released the cause of death for Prince, June 2nd, 2016. Anyhow, Prince's death ended up being directly connected to Denny Green's death, which I did a video on. Denny Green died the night before they opened the new stadium for Minnesota Vikings that will host Super Bowl 52, the one that will happen in the beginning of 2018. Not this year, but the year after. That stadium is called U.S. Bank Stadium, which in gematria sums to 155. Denny Green died 155 days after his birthday, the night before they opened the stadium. And there's more to it than that. That stadium's going to host Super Bowl 52. Denny Green died 52 days before the season opener, September 11th, against Tennessee. 52 days before the season opener in Tennessee. Tennessee in gematria equals 52. So does prophecy. Prince is known for saying that the only thing we can go by in this world is prophecy. The Freemasons, the Zionists who control media, who control the recording studios, who control sports, they code from the book of prophecy, the book of Revelation, which all of this comes back to. There's a lot of information here. I'm just beginning this way so people can understand that what I'm saying, it's not based on nonsense. I'm not just saying everything's a ritual. I'm following a pattern. I'm showing people what's truly going on in this world. So this man drops dead at age 91. We'll talk about why that number's significant. On August 3rd, which is Tom Brady's birthday. Tom Brady's born August 3rd. Peyton Manning's born on the 83rd day of the year. Football in gematria equals 83. The date of the first Super Bowl was on a date with 83 numerology. This is a very important number in the sport of football. A lot of great NFL players have names in gematria that sum to 83. Talk about many examples of that on this channel over the 2+ years I've been making videos. So anyway, let's get to what else is suspicious about this reporting. Let's look at his son first, who is the owner of the Vikings. It's his father who just died at age 91. He's currently 66 years old. Last year I was talking about how Archie Manning's 66, a special number, Part of the reason it was all synced up the Super Bowl for Peyton Manning, which I predicted in October. 66 is significant because the first Super Bowl was at the end of the 66 season, played January 15th, 67. NFL in Jewish gematria equals 66. Revelation's the 66th book of the Bible, the book of prophecy. Revelation equals 49. Last year, the 49ers hosted Super Bowl 50. If you haven't seen my video on the Broncos' visit to the White House after the Super Bowl, check that out. It was all by the numbers of Revelation and prophecy, as was the Super Bowl itself. The date he died on, August 3rd, 2016, was a date with 47 numerology. The first Super Bowl was in the 47th season of the NFL. Very special number to Freemasonry and Zionism. This is the date this man just died on at age 91. Super Bowl 51, the upcoming Super Bowl, will also be the 47th Super Bowl of the modern era. Houston Texans in gematria sums to 51. San Francisco sums to 50. Last year they hosted 50. Here's that date numerology of the first Super Bowl, 83 like football. The owner of the team, the day he was born, April 22nd, 1950. This is a date with a life lesson number of 41. In gematria, Super Bowl equals 41. Prince, the day he died, was the 112th day of the year, a date with 41 numerology. He performed in Super Bowl 41, won by the Colts, ends up dying on a date with 41 numerology. This man also has birth numerology of 76. The Vikings last went to a Super Bowl at the end of the 76-77 season. It is the Masons, it is the Zionist Jews who control the world of media, world of professional sports. They remind us of the Holocaust often to legitimize their rule over us. They say this man was a Holocaust survivor who died at age 91. You notice most people were Holocaust survivors. It's because the statistics about the 6 million deaths are bullshit. There's no proof of that anywhere. There's no proof that there were any gassing chambers. The Zionists rule the world with propaganda, lies, deceit, which are crammed down our throats through media, textbooks, and education systems they control. Joseph was the name of the man who just passed. He died on a Wednesday. I just point out that Joseph and Wednesday have the same gematria. Some things could be a coincidence. I just like to document. He's remembered for setting up this Holocaust museum, a family foundation as well in 1964 that they mention. Interesting that 64 is 52 years ago. Also, all of these words have gematria of 64. Israel, Zion. Israel's the Zionist state. Thelema. Thelema's the occult religion about essentially do whatever you want that worships the number 93. Israel very much established around the numbers 93, drawn up on September 3rd. Their Congress is called Knesset Gematria of 93. Plus a whole lot more. Schindler's List came out in the year 93. Spielberg equals 93. Propaganda equals 93. Oskar Schindler equals 93. Oskar Schindler died by those numbers. Shows you who really might have been responsible for his death, if he was even a real person. Do what thou wilt is the phrase of Thelema, gematria of 64. Just like synagogue of Satan, the name given to the false Jews who will rule in the end times, according to the book of Revelation. From the day Denny Green died to the season opener, September 11th, again, 52 days. If you haven't seen my work on the Dallas bus crash, supposedly in Arizona, check out that video. It's all propaganda, predictive programming for what's to come in the home opener against the Giants. There's so much propaganda and ritual created in the media, from the killing of people, staging of news. See how I predicted the Super Bowl last year in October? It was based off of a traffic crash in Los Angeles that was bogus reporting about a body landing on top of Colorado Street. Notice from Denny Green's death to the home openers, 52 days, also 1 month and 21 days. Revelation has gematria of 121 as well. Revelation, the book of prophecy, prophecy 52. From the day this man died, August 3rd, until February 5th, This year's Super Bowl is on February 5th, a date written 5/2, a lot like 52. Until the date of Super Bowl 51 is 187 days, the homicide code. This is what I mean. This is why I don't think the deaths are natural. August 3rd, football day, 47 numerology, 187. They say he passed in Hillside, New Jersey. Seen some strange deaths in New Jersey. The Sean Rooks, I think he died in New Jersey during the time of the NBA Finals by the numbers. One of the many ritual sacrifices for the Cavs' scripted win this year. Predicted the Cavs would defeat the Warriors in November. Called a whole bunch more. Predicted how many points LeBron would score in games 5 and 6. Talked about a lot of things that came true. All from understanding this number code. Anyway, this man died in Hillside, New Jersey, gematria 57. Again, like the number connected to Super Bowl, championship, World Series equals 57. This past year, 57 days after the World Series ended, Dave Henderson dropped dead at age 57. Henderson equals 57. The last team he played for were the Kansas City Royals, who won the World Series. Not to mention, I predicted last year that the Mets would be in the World Series. I made that prediction in spring training. Everyone said I was crazy. I predicted it because New York equals 111. It was the 111th World Series. It ended on November 1st. Matt Harvey's shutout got broken up on the 111th pitch. It's also scripted, and it's also in our face. This guy who died at age 91, he's known for opening this museum in 1953. Interesting that the museum itself has gematria 53. Religion equals 53. Catholic equals 53. The Catholic Church was once started by a sect of the Jews who are now known as the Zionist Jews, who are called the Synagogue of Satan in the Bible. Just notice that Catholic and religion, reflections of each other. In the Catholic Church, there's rosary beads. You're supposed to have 53 of them. They opened up this museum in 53. In Israel, in Paris, in Argentina, in Washington, D.C., at the Vatican, there's all these obelisks, these symbols. From the numbers to the symbolism, these are the signs of the gangsters who run this world. They are the Freemasons. They are the Zionists. They control the positions of authority. That means government. That means religion, that means media, and they program us. They program us to obey their command, their rule, their tyranny by the numbers. That involves a good deal of ritual sacrifice. Also, I want to point out that earlier this year, Will Smith supposedly died in a very suspicious way, if he even really died. His death was very much centered around the number 91. And I want to give a little shout out to another YouTube channel, somebody who follows my work, somebody who uses my work to further it with their own study, but somebody who also makes videos slandering me. I keep trying to extend a hand saying, you know what? I bet we'd be better off if we worked together. That person's named RFG Chosen One, and he took my work and he made his own unique prediction. He said the NFC Championship this year is going to be Vikings and Saints. I've thought it's going to be Vikings and Giants since February of this year. Perhaps he's right. Maybe it will be Vikings and Saints. You know, the Saints would be a surprise team. But the thing about this guy, his name is RFG Chosen One. He has this logo with RFG on it. I am pretty sure he is a young man who's been recruited into Freemasonry, and what he's doing is using his knowledge to advance a cause, but maybe a cause that's not for truly anyone but himself and the people he's working for. The problem with his work is that he makes it about race, and he contributes to the things that divide us. He says he's speaking out against Zionism, but at the same time, he also makes all of his work about race. And the Zionists, the chief way they divide us is through racial division, religious division, the things we can be divided on. And RFG plays on this. So I want to let RFG know that right now, you know, if he can remove himself from this Masonic thing that he's involved with, it might be beneficial to him. Notice RFG equals 93. The occult worships Saturn. This is their number. 93 represents Saturn. The religion Thelema worships the number 93. Propaganda in gematria also sums to 93. This is a number that has also been coded on black men of significance throughout history. Two of those men in this nation are Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. In my book that I have not released, but I've put out pretty much every chapter as a free draft. For all of you who are starving to read my book, you can go on my blog and search chapter drafts and read everything that I put out. I put out a small chapter on Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Let me just show you this to you real quick. You can come to my blog, freetofindtruth.blogspot.com. You can type in Martin Luther, Malcolm, chapter, draft, and this should pull it up right here. Here it is right here. Fairly long chapter, a lot of information to read. I talk about how both these men were murdered by the same numbers. They were both dead at age 39, the reflection of 93. I talk about how they only met one time in history. They met March 26th in the year 64. Remember, Thelema, 64, Israel, Zion, worships 93. They met only one time, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr., on a date with 93 numerology. These men were controlled by a gang all this time. And while they were out there doing what they were doing, they spoke a lot of truth, but they also helped contribute to some of the problems. And at the same time, they never called out who was truly responsible for orchestrating all this hate and division and divisiveness over the years. It's been the same gang of Masons and Zionists controlling the media that I'm afraid our friend RFG Chosen One, who has a very compass and square-like logo on his shirt, is working for. So RFG, recognize that I'm only trying to help you. You're welcome to use my research anytime. You don't have to give me credit, but just stop slandering me and making up false accusations. Stick to the facts. And if I'm right about who you're participating with, I think you'd be wise to remove yourself. Look at what the fates were of these two men. Unless there's something we don't know. There's always the possibility that these men are faking their deaths, but that's another discussion. So here it is, Truth Seeker. Another death by the numbers. The fingerprints of Zionism all over it. Remember, it's Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, the practice of numerology, gematria, operating by this code. Very important to these people. These are the people who've always scripted the NFL. That's why I'm able to make the sports predictions. Same people who've scripted the NBA, the MLB, tennis, the world of sports. Freemasonry's international. We just had that stabbing in 187 Square by the numbers over in London. These numbers are always around death. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.